Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about squaring binomials. So what is a binomial? A binomial is when you're adding or subtracting any two algebraic terms. So for example, in this example, we're adding 5x to 7. So these are two terms and we're adding them together. So therefore it's a binomial. And what's squaring a binomial? Where it's essentially just raising it to the power of 2. So just how you would square a number, you're going to be squaring this binomial and solving for your final binomial. So let's work on a couple of examples. Okay, so whenever you're given a number, when you square it, you just multiply by itself. So like 5 squared, you would just do 5 times 5. You're just multiplying any number by itself. The same thing will apply to a binomial. So for example, if we're given 5x plus 7, to square this, we would essentially just do 5x plus 7 times another 5x plus 7. So we're just multiplying it by itself. Now there's two ways that you can multiply. One is by using the formula, or 2 is by expanding. So right now we're going to go through this by expanding and then use the formula. So let's do expanding first. To expand a binomial to square it, all you're going to do is take each term and multiply by every other term. So let me break this down step by step. You're going to take your first term of your first binomial, multiply it with the first term of your second binomial. And you're going to do the same thing and take the second term and multiply it with the first term of your second binomial. So you're just going to multiply these two together. So for example, 5x times 5x is 25x squared. And then 7 times 5x is going to be 35x. And you're just going to add those together. Now you're going to repeat the same thing using the second term of your second binomial. To do that, we're just going to repeat what we just did. So we're going to be taking the first term of our first binomial, multiplying it with the second term of our second binomial, and then the same thing, second term with our second term. If we multiply this, we will get 5x times 7 is going to be 35x, and then 7 times 7 is going to be positive 49. So now we're just going to simplify this. As you can see, we have two like terms. They both are coefficients of x, so we're just going to add those two, otherwise our answer is going to remain the same. So we're going to bring down this 25x squared. We're going to add the two 35s to get 70x. And then we're going to add the 49 at the end. So this will be your final answer, 25x squared plus 70x plus 49. Okay, so now we are going to repeat this process, but we're going to use the formula. The formula basically states that if you have any number a plus b and you square them, so you have any two terms a and b and you square them, your final answer will be a squared plus b squared plus 2 times a times b. And to expand or square this binomial, we're just going to be following this formula and substituting our numbers. So in our binomial 5x plus 7, we're going to substitute 5x as our a term and 7 as our b term. So if we substitute this as a, we're going to get 5x squared according to this part of the formula, plus 7 squared because 7 is our b, plus 2 times 5x times 7. I'm just literally multiplying and substituting everything as a and b. 5x and 7 as a and b respectively. Your final step will just be to expand this. So 25x squared is going to be 25x squared. This is going to be positive 49, and then this is going to be 70x because 2 times 5 is 10, and then 10 times 7 is 70, and you're just going to add the x. So as you can see, our final answer here is the same answer as what we got previously. So there are two different methods of doing this entire process. So now let's work on our second question, and we're going to be solving this by expanding first. So we have x minus 5 squared, and to expand this, we're just going to be multiplying it by itself. So it's going to be x minus 5 times x minus 5. And so first we're going to take our first term, multiply it with our first term of our second binomial. And then we're going to take the second term of our first binomial and multiply it with the first term of our second binomial again. So if we multiply this, we'll get x times x, which is just x squared. And then we have negative 5 times x, so it's going to be negative 5x. Make sure you take note of this negative in between because that will make sure that your final answer is going to be accurate as well. Now we're going to be repeating that entire process for our second part. So we're going to be taking our first term, multiplying it by the second term of our last binomial, and then the same thing for this one. If we multiply this, we'll get x times negative 5. Again, take note of this negative symbol. That's also very important. So you have negative 5x. And then you're going to do negative 5 times negative 5, which is positive 25. So if you add these together, you have x squared minus 10x plus 25. So this will be your final equation and your final answer. Now let's do this using the formula. So now we're going to be using the formula. As I stated before, the formula is a plus b squared equals a squared plus b squared plus 2ab. Now, as you can tell, we're going to be doing x minus 5, and there's a slightly different formula for this. It's going to be a minus b squared equals a squared plus b squared, except we're going to have minus 2ab instead of plus 2ab. So we're still going to be substituting everything the same, we just need to take note of that minor negative sign. So we're going to be doing the same thing, and we're going to be taking x minus 5, and then in this case, our a term is x and our b term is 5. Now you don't need to care about the negative sign when you're talking about b, because that's already being accounted for, and I'll show you why. So if we substitute this in our formula, we're going to get x squared. I'm just substituting our a and b values in this part of the formula. And then we're going to get 5 squared minus 2 times a times b. Now we already have a minus sign here, which is why we don't have a minus sign with the 5. So if we continue to simplify this, we will get x squared plus 25 minus 10x if we multiply all of this together. Now this is your same thing. This is just equal to x squared minus 10x plus 25, which is what we got as our answer when we were expanding as well. So this is how you square binomials, by using the formula and by expanding.